Hello friends, welcome to CPIM Digital. Today we are going to discuss about surge in violence against women and children, which is a national crisis. In the context of West Bengal, the issue is far more serious amidst the heinous case of 𝒃𝒑. To put it onto a context, the issue of 𝒃𝒑 is not isolated by any stretch of imagination. Rather, after and before 𝒃𝒑, we have seen many cases across the state of West Bengal which exhibit violence against women of the highest order. It is as clear as daylight now that the severe lumpenization of the society under the 𝒃𝒐𝒃 jungle Raj is the enabler of such incident in West Bengal. On the other hand, the core Manuvadi ideology of BJP and RSS is driven by patriarchal mindset which is playing catalytic role in the surge in violence against women and children across the nation. Today in this video, we will dig deep into the politics of violence, the role of media, the 𝒃𝒑 movement of West Bengal, and appeal to the people to protest and resist. Recent months have witnessed an alarming rise in violence against women and children across India. Casting a shadow over the BJP's 𝒃𝒑𝒏𝒄𝒉 𝒂𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍 slogan, reports reveal a surge in heinous crimes, including rape and murder, with over 86 cases of rape reported daily and 49 crimes against women occurring every hour. The worst hit regions are states governed by the BJP, such as Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Bihar, as well as West Bengal under the 𝒃𝒐 government. This disturbing trend has ignited protests nationwide, demanding justice, accountability and systematic reforms to curb violence against women and children. The political landscape in India is deeply intertwined with the issue of women's safety. In several cases, ruling parties have been accused of protecting offenders due to their political connections. The police too have come under fire for their alleged inaction, failure to investigate, and in some cases, outright complicity in shielding the accused. This systematic failure has emboldened criminals, leaving survivors and their families fighting uphill battle for justice. In many BJP-ruled states, abuses of violence against women and children have received state protection due to their political affiliations. Uttar Pradesh, for instance, have seen the arrest and conviction of a BJP MLA of raping a minor, but only after the intervention from the High Court and the Supreme Court. Despite this, justice often remains elusive for survivors, especially when those accused are connected to the ruling party. Recently, in the infamous Bilkis Banu case from Gujarat, convicts of gang rape and murder were released on parole and their sentences remitted. This miscarriage of justice exposed the state's bias towards the political allies of the ruling BJP. Haryana's BJP government have been criticized for repeatedly granting parole to Baba Ram Rahim, convicted of both rape and murder, enabling him to campaign for the party during elections. This highlights the brazen disregard for the legal norms in favor of political expediency. The media, which plays a crucial role in bringing these cases to light, is also guilty of fabrication and victim blaming. Often survivors are portrayed as responsible for the violence they endure, reflecting deep-rooted misogyny in media narratives. Politicians, public figures and even law enforcement officials have made sexist remarks that reinforce these harmful stereotypes, further complicating the right and fight for justice. However, public protests have emerged as a powerful tool for demanding accountability and justice. In West Bengal, for instance, the rape and murder of a 9-year-old girl in Joynagar, the subsequent police inaction sparked widespread protests. The local Trinamool MLA, Ganesh Chandra Mondal, was accused of hindering the investigation, further stoking public outrage. Villagers, furious over the inaction, vandalized a police outpost, leading to violent clashes with the police. Although the offenders was eventually arrested, the protest continued, driven by demands for justice and transparency. Similarly, the brutal rape and murder of a trainee doctor in West Bengal has ignited public anger across the state. The slow pace of the CBI probe and the government's perceived indifference have led to mass protests demanding accountability from the authorities. The protests have evolved into a people's movement, with citizens rallying for the protection of women and children and calling for systematic reforms. A common thread across these cases is the systematic failure of law enforcement. Police have been frequently accused of obstructing investigations and refusing to register complaints from survivors and their families. In some instances, this has led to further violence as offenders, emboldened by the police's inaction, commit even more hideous crimes. This pattern of neglect and complicity is particularly evident in states like Uttar Pradesh, where police refuse to take actions against politically connected rapists until forced to do by the courts. In West Bengal too, the police have faced severe criticism for their handling of rape cases. In 𝒉𝒂𝒂𝒄𝒉, a minor girl was repeatedly raped by a neighbor who threatened to kill her if she spoke out. When the girl's mother filed a complaint, the police initially took no action, leading to violent protests by the community. Similarly, in 𝒉𝒂𝒄𝒉, protests erupted after a local Trinamool leader accused of raping and murdering a woman was released from custody, prompting widespread outrage and calls for an impartial investigation. Under TMC rule, West Bengal has witnessed a disturbing surge in rape cases, revealing a culture of lawlessness and violence against women. The recent protests in West Bengal have become emblematic of a larger national crisis. The protests against the government's inaction on rape cases, spearheaded by organizations such as the 𝒄𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍 and AIDWA, have highlighted the state's failure to protect women and children from violence. In the case of the 9-year-old girl from Joynagar, the involvement of the local MLA in obstructing the investigation reflects the broader issue of political interference in criminal cases. The violent protests that followed the girl's death are indicative of the public's deep frustration with the authorities, failure to act swiftly and decisively. The sense of injustice is spread by communities across the state, where citizens have taken to streets to demand accountability from the government. Similarly, the case of the trainee doctor at 𝒃𝒃𝒄𝒉 Hospital have galvanized public support for the victims of gender-based violence. Protests have continued daily, with thousands taking to the streets during Durga Puja to demand justice for the victims. The parents of the trainee doctor had set up a protest stage outside their home, calling on the people of the state to join them in their fight for justice. Their actions have inspired solidarity across the state, with leaders from 𝒄𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍 and AIDWA to visiting the family to offer their support. The protests in West Bengal have not been limited to cases of gender-based violence. Junior doctors at government hospitals have also launched a massive protest against the state government's handling of healthcare and law enforcement issues. The JDF's demands included the removal of the health secretary, increased police protection in hospitals, and accountability for administrative failures. Public support for the junior doctors has been overwhelming, with citizens and even celebrities joining their cause. The movement have drawn attention to the broader failures of the state government in addressing issues related to law enforcement, healthcare, and public safety. The protests have exposed the government's indifference to the plight of its citizens, further fueling public anger and calls for systematic reform. The rise in violence against women and children, coupled with the government's failure to act decisively, has created a crisis of public trust. The ongoing protests in West Bengal and across India are a powerful reminder that citizens will not remain silent in the face of injustice, whether it is the fight for justice for victims of rape and murder or the demand for better healthcare and law enforcement. The people of India are mobilizing to hold their governments accountable. Political parties and law enforcement agencies must act swiftly to restore public trust by ensuring the accused of the violence are brought to justice, regardless of their political affiliations. Media must also play a responsible role in reporting these cases without sensationalizing or victim blaming. Only through collective action and systematic reforms can the cycle of violence be broken and justice be ensured for all.
Roll camera. Action.
Political parties and law enforcement agencies must act swiftly to restore public trust by ensuring the accused are brought to justice regardless of their political affiliations. Media must also play a responsible role reporting these cases without sensationalizing or victim blaming. Through collective action and systematic reforms can the cycle of violence be broken and justice be ensured for all.